Hi, and thank everyone for joining me. I'm Andrew Hardaway. I have 10 years of experience in the military as a medical service officer, where I operated as a risk manager and a registered nurse for the National Capital Region. I managed the healthcare trends of providers and presented risk levels to the hospital director. As I transition from the military into the civilian sector, I plan to use my background with clinical knowledge to pursue a data analytics career. I received data analytics training with Savvy Coders, learning Python, SQL, and Tableau, which will enable me to become an effective analyst. My interest in data stems from the belief that historical data can help identify various at-risk levels for patients and providers, which will ultimately improve healthcare awareness and health practice. That's why for my capstone, I chose to look into the National Basketball Association, or NBA. For my capstone question, I chose to look at teams' injuries compared to player position. I will move into my project. During my 12 weeks with Savvy Coders, I was fortunate enough to be the scrum master for the first half of the cohort. During the cohort, I was able to lead our group through different phases of managing our own projects, and I will speak to some of the agile phases that help lead me through my capstone question. Injuries. What does it mean and why does it matter? Uh, what does it mean to be injured? The NBA considers injuries to be injuries, illnesses, and rest for all NBA players. So if that NBA player has to sit out for any illness, any time needed for rest, or any injury, they all are considered injured. Why does it matter? Injuries are a big part of sports and the NBA itself. It degrades the organization when players get injured. Fans, they are not happy when their favorite player gets injured. And ultimately, for the most important, the player themselves. This is their job. They're here to play a sport and here for entertainment. And they are not able to perform at their best and perform at what they want to do because of their injuries. My question, hypothesis, and approach to my capstone was: does the position of the age of player on a team have an effect on the amount of injuries a team sustains throughout a season? I will use the regular season games and postseason games, along with data based on their position versus their age. My expectation when I first started my capstone was that I would see a trend of players who have higher ages have more injuries, and it would, per position, I thought the more that a player was in the paint, meaning a center closer to a dunk, they would get injured. The further away they were from the basket, I thought that they would not get injured. Some additional factors and flaws, which my data does not show, is it doesn't include the playing style. Some players shoot 3 points, some players shoot 2 points and going for a 2 point dunk. But my data does not show that. My data is also flawed by the basis that injuries are included. Illnesses are included, and not just injuries. Also, the playing time of a player really does affect their impact of the sport and whether they're more likely to get injured. So my first step in with my capstone was extracting the data and wrangling the data. So one data set I was able to pull from a data source online. The source is Kaggle, and I was able um, to get a data set that was 10 years of worth of data from 2010 to 2020. I then defined where how much data that I wanted to look at and contribute to my capstone, which my capstone is from 2015 to 2018. Here you can see at the top, I have my data source, which is from Kaggle. And after this, I downloaded this data, which came in the format of a CSV, and I downloaded that to my computer, which I then imported into SQL, as you can see here at the bottom. And the data was very informative. I had the type of injury, I had the players' names, I had some columns that I did not need, which is this acquired column, which when that player was reintegrated back to the team, which my data, we didn't really need that. I had the team itself, and I had a date, which is formatted in just text. So I will show you in SQL some of the things I've done. As you can see here, this is my master data set, and I was able to trim and just leave basically the 4-digit year. I was able to have the player name. I was able to, the notes column, what type of injury. I just decided that if they were injured or they were ill or they needed time, just rest away from the game, that I would consider that an injury just as the NBA defines. And I had the column yes. This right here is my master data set, which it did not look like this originally. It originally looked like this, which was from Kaggle. I also use Python to clean up some data. And within Python, I use NumPys, I use pandas to import different libraries and different data so I could clean the data as best as I could. I will now show you that. So my data set, it started out with a lot of information, such as the player, the season, the year, the age, their position, and a lot of other stat information, such as 3-point average, 2-point average, or some defensive stats. And I was able to drop a lot of columns, and I was able to join this data set here with the data in Python with the data set that I showed you in SQL. I was able to do a left join. I was able to drop columns, and I was able to put all the data into one, which produced my master data set. What the data ended up showing was that I have the top 3 injured teams per count of injuries per year. So the top 3 teams that had the most injuries for the 4 years was pretty consistent. We had the 76ers, we had the Grizzlies, and we have the Suns. All 3 teams came out to be the top 3 teams that produced injuries. And I was also able to show the bottom 3 teams, and which was pretty consistent as well, which is the Magics, which was the Blazers, the Magics, and the Timberwolves. These teams down here have the lowest count of injuries over the span of 4 years consistently. my data is also able to show the injuries per position. So in 2017, the point guard position accounted for 902 injuries for the entire 2017 season across all the teams in the NBA. I can also filter this data to be 2016, where 2016, the power forward came in accounting for the most injuries for the entire NBA. In 2018, we have shooting guard with the most count of injuries for 2018 for the entire NBA. Some challenges I face with my capstone, one thing that I wanted to display was some players they play different positions just due to what the organization needs. They fill different roles. So I wanted to be able to show what position a player got injured more. And like we can look here, this gentleman, Mr. Evans, he played two positions in between 2016 and 2017, and he accounted for 54 counts of injuries and illnesses for 1 year, where he only counted as a small forward, whereas at point guard, he only counted for 16 injuries. So which is a pretty significant difference between the two numbers. And so a business question for the players themselves is, what position is more advantageous for that player to play due to the injuries they may encounter on a specific team. Here I have the age of position and the amount of injuries. So this here is a good chart that shows two of the things that I wanted to show, which is the position here at the bottom, and I have different age bins that I created in Tableau, which for the entire 4 years of data, the power forward position at the ages between 27 and 36 accounted for the most injuries for this age group. So the data shows really good information regarding what position and age groups players are more likely to get injured. Some key takeaways is that age alone cannot determine the likelihood of injuries. Some teams, some positions are more likely to get injured due to a specific team, as we saw. The 76ers and Grizzlies and Pacers were the top teams that was injured for the 4 years. So that can attribute to the position or the player's age not even mattering, just due to that team having a more probably getting injured.
Okay,
and that
I found this on the web for where are the top 3 teams
that may be due to the playing style of the team, that may be due to coaching factors. So age alone will not alone determine the likelihood of injuries. And some other key takeaways are that of such. Some things that I've learned throughout using the agile process was projects take time, and it's in small increments. It is best to attack the project through sprints. And through that, me leading as a scrum master, pulling and gathering and talking to my team it was an intimate small group, which was very effective in accomplishing the work in a timely manner. So I learned a lot through Savvy Coders. This is my capstone, and thank you all for your time, your support, and your appreciation. I'm Andrew Hardaway. Thank you so much, and have a wonderful day.